Hey, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Stock Hustle channel with your boy William, coming back for another update video. However, this is going to be a specific video as it was requested. So some of you guys have had questions in regards to how I use unusual whales and how I get to the presets. So I'm actually going to make just an update video. I'll pin it to the top of my video playlist, so in case anybody ever needs it, you can always rely back on this video to figure out exactly what you can do and how I use it specifically to filter my plays on unusual whales. So what is Unusual Whales? Unusual Whales, as you guys have seen in my videos, is a website essentially you can subscribe to. This is the pricing if you guys are interested in them. I would definitely encourage you and recommend it to. They do have a free one, obviously. They have a middle grade and then the top grade. Obviously the best deal is going to be the top grade because it gives you not only access to live options, live news feeds, live Twitter notifications, live stock notifications, premiere alerts. You get custom notifications. You got all kinds of stuff on this website. Like, it is an amazing tool. It is more than worth, in my opinion, for the price that they sell it for. Again, with my first trade using Unusual Whales, it more than paid for itself. I even messaged Unusual Whales on Twitter, and I told them thank you, thank you, thank you. I couldn't thank him enough, to be honest. And I even asked for permission to use his website on my videos. Again, they said everything with moderation, of course. Again, this is not me promoting it. I'm simply wanting to teach how people can use it, how I use it to, I guess, filter for my plays. So what is Unusual Whales and what does it do? So as you guys have seen from my videos, I like to go and show you a chart of a stock. For example, IRNT. This is a play that I'm looking at. Again, we'll talk about it in another video. But whenever you see me quote a stock, I quote it on Thinkorswim 9 times out of 10. I will always show you as well as the options chain, right? Because you're always going to need to know what's going on in the options, right? Who's buying what, who's selling what, where's the money going? Because not everyone just buys shares. A lot of majority of people do just buy shares, especially new investors. It's a safer investment, if you will, buying shares. There's no risk, there's no time decay, there's no delta, there's no Greek, there's no gamma, there's no vega, there's no theta, right? It's just you buy a share, you hold it, and you're done. With options, the dynamic changes. Again, you have the Greeks, you have an expiration date, you have a strike date, you have a premium that you have to pay for it, you lose money per certain days, you have to hold it, sell it. Sometimes you hold them for a day, sometimes you hold them for a month. Again, it depends on the type of trader you want to be. But that's why I always show the options chain, or before I did. Now that I have Unusual Whales, I just show you the flow. But what is it showing you, right? Some people have asked that question. What is it? What is that, right? So what it is for example, in Thinkorswim, you have the ability to go into the options chain purchases. If you do options chain time and sale, and it will literally show you the largest trades of the day and the smallest trades. Any trade, literally any trade, you could filter for them, and essentially you could design your own, I guess, Unusual Whales if you wanted to, just doing it this way. But again, you'd have to know how to write code, you'd have to know how to build a website, you'd have to know how to filter the information, right? This is already done for you at a very small premium price, which to me is a fair trade because it gives me the information that I need. So the question was, how do I use it and how do you filter to find the information you want, right? So obviously up here where you see this button that says flow, if you click on the flow, it's going to take you to the live updating flow. Throughout the day or during the trading day, this chain is constantly moving based on your presets, right? What presets do I use? Specifically, well, let's first clarify our table. I use underlying, bid and ask, open interest, volume, flags, tags, action. You don't necessarily need action. I just use it because, again, it doesn't get in my way. Implied volatility, delta. Of the rest of the Greeks, I use none, just to be specific. That's my table settings. Filters. In the filters is how you, number one, search for a ticker, what premium or strike price you're looking for, how much money and investment are you looking for, and there's a couple ways you can do that, right? You can just do the reset. You can go through this list, find a stock that you want, and simply just click on the stock, and it's going to take you to a historical flow, right? For example, in this case, SPY, right? When you get to the SPY, you get today's breakdown on the left, as you see this hyperlink here, and then today's SPY levels. When you click on SPY levels, it does it by categories. Essentially, small investors of $1,000 or less, what they're buying, what strike dates, what strike specifically they're targeting, right? So it kind of gives you an idea where the money's going for investors that are under $1,000. You scroll a little bit further down, and you got premium of $5,000. So people that are spending at least $5,000 on calls or puts, what strike dates they're targeting, as you see here, September 24th, this Friday. and October 15th in this example. And what strike date? The $411 strike date. As you see, there's $40 million there going into that strike date. Go down a little bit further, 15,000. So these are people spending at least $15,000 on options. The strike they're targeting, as you see, October 15th, and the amount, again, 411. That 411 seems to be pretty popular, and so is that October 15th. I was talking to a couple people in the Discord last night, and I told them that a lot of these short momentum plays have been targeted for October 15th. I know it's a monthly, but outside of the monthly, it just seems weird that pretty much any short interest play you look at, or short squeeze play, has enormous amounts of money on October 15th. But again, I'll leave that for another video. This is in regards to unusual whales. So, hunting whales. Here we go. $30,000 premium, minimum premium. Again, the red is always going to show you the puts. Green is always going to show you the calls. As you see here, October 15th. Strike dates. So we got 372, 411, 417 in various amounts of money. As you see, 411 is at 100 million. 417 is at 150 million. So forth and so forth, right? So this is one way you can use it to your advantage to essentially track, right? If you click on the opposite side, today's breakdown, it gives you a different breakdown, a different way to look at the chart. For example, this is giving you, stop doing that. It gives you the strike date, and on the left, you see premium for calls. On the right, you see premium for puts, right? So it kind of gives you a comparison, basically meaning, like, for example, this one right here at the 426. Clearly visible that there is more green than there is red. If it was flipped, then you would see more red on the right versus green, right? And then the strikes that don't have any money, you see are just flat out empty. For example, here's one. This put for the October 15, 318, you see it has mostly puts, nothing calls, right? So it's just a different way to compare, to show you the breakdown, right? Up here you have a SPY page. It takes you directly to the SPY page. It gives you a chart. And then again, other options you can filter to specifically, right? So when I'm using this to filter plays, for example, we can use IRNT, right? So first and foremost, you start from the beginning. I like to go to where it says big whales. And again, this is under the filter section, navigation, big whales. Once you're in big whales, it's automatically going to preset 100,000 plus, I believe. In here, you would put your ticker up here. So IRNT, like the one that we were seeing on Thinkorswim. Hit enter. Automatically, it's going to do a custom search. So custom search meaning that when you look at the filters, it's 100,000 plus only for IRNT. Now, it's going to break down by the most recent, right? If you do it this way. If you just go to the flow and search, then you might get dates at various time frames. You might get some from June, April, May, October. They're all mixed all throughout based on how you're filtering, right? So as you see, I like to look at this for big whales because I want to see large amounts of money. In the video from yesterday, I did Riot, right? I did it the same way, R-I-O-T. Using the big whales, automatically pre-filled. Someone had asked, I could not get to the screen you got to. Well, here you go. This is exactly the same screen that I showed you yesterday for big whales, specifically just for Riot. As you see, pay attention to the strike when the time was purchased. September 8th, August 27th, August 24th, August 13th, April, right? You always got to pay attention to that because you can get confused and assume, oh, it was just yesterday. No, you have to pay attention to the dates. There is a lot of data on unusual whales that it gives you, which you can use to your advantage. You just have to learn to read it right. But essentially, this is how I filter for big whales. It's not the only way you can filter. You can do this independently too. You don't have to use the big whales tab, right? Go back to navigation, go back to all. Specifically when I'm looking at the flow, just for a blank flow, I like to do it this way. I'll do premium and I'll start at 25,000 usually in the morning because I want to see where a little bit of the big money is going. 25,000 to start. Bid and ask I leave on. Emojis, I turn them all on and I take out specifically, I'll show you. I take out ETF, I'll take out index, and I'll take out oil because those are the ones that are you get consumed with in your flow if you leave them in, right? Date to expiration, DTE, date to expiration range. I don't ever put a date there. When I pre-fill, I usually do it by time. If I'm looking for specific amounts or specific large amounts of money, I'll do by premium size, right? Which is the second tab. As you see, it's going to load, and then it's going to categorize them all by the size of the premium being the largest, with the minimum being 25,000, right? Again, there's no flow, there's no active flow at this time, so it's not going to pre-fill to anything specifically. Down here, you can do a volume range, how much volume, how many strikes they're buying, how much open interest. You can turn, I usually turn the open interest and volume on specifically, but look, we can use another ticker as an example. AMC, popular one, right? Automatically, you're gonna see a couple things pop up. Look, up here, you're gonna see call premium, put premium. Again, pay attention to the dates. They're mixed because we've already preset by premium amount. So for example, this $26.2 million put, sold put at the $70 strike was bought on June 10th. This 15.1 million sold put, again bullish play, was on August 12th, right? June 28th, right? But look, if you go down here and change this to time, it reorganizes everything to the most recent, and this is how you get the most recent. It's still going to show you anything above 25,000, but they're not in chronological order from largest to biggest. It's based on time, what day being the most current in order, right? By put, call, whether it's bullish or bearish, it's always going to label it here. On the notes, if you go through the Unusual Wealth sign up, they give you like an explanation rundown of how to use it best and what things to turn off and turn on. One of the things they recommend, turn off the bid side because it filters more specifically to the ask side, right? More bullish, more targeted purchases. So again, as you're seeing this now, look at the flow and look what you can clearly see. More calls flowing in, the strikes that they're targeting, and the expiration date. As you see, September 24th seems to be heavily targeted, October 1st. When you want to look at the breakdown of the filters you've used, you go all the way to the top, show charts, and now it's going to give you a chart breakdown. Essentially, all that data is going to get compiled into these pie charts, which gives you a nice clean breakdown to see what is bigger than what and who's on the dominant side, right? Obviously, please remember, we turned off the bid side just now, so you're not going to have a comparison on this one. But for everything else, volume, calls versus puts, again, it's going to give you a nice breakdown evenly of what was on that chart in line items, now on pie charts. Very clean, visible. You go down a little bit. Again, this is by premium of 25,000 or more. So you have to have at least spent 25K or more. As you can clearly see, September 24th, October 1st, October 8th, October 15th, November 19th, and then March 2022 are the most heavily targeted strikes at that premium amount minimum. What strike are they looking for? The 30, the 40, the 42, and the 75. Right? You go down even further, and now it gives you bar items, right? So these are bars. Again, it's giving you by expiration date, the amount, what strike or what expiration at what strike, right? It gives you just more information so you can kind of see on a comparison all items compared to each other. Calls versus puts. Puts are on the right, calls on the left. Again, it's a super awesome tool. It just takes a lot of time to, you know, get to know it and get to understand it. I would say, honestly, it took me a good 7 days straight of interacting with the software, day in and day out, getting the hang of it before I finally started putting things two and two together and figuring out the information that I wanted to source from it, right? Again, we'll do this again. We'll reset everything just to give you guys one more clean example. We'll start over here at stock alerts, for example. One of the other triggers that it has. We'll go to the front or the top, click on the flow. It's going to give us a blank flow. This is the actual live flow of today. As you see, 922 all the way down. Various tickers. It depends on what part you're looking at. QQQ, SPY. Again, those are very popular right now because, again, a lot of people have been playing them because of what happened on Monday and these run-ups that it's been pushing back, right? Now with the Fed not tapering, again, it's even furthermore confirmed. You're going to see even more plays on that, right? Not a problem. The question was specifically on Riot. So we can go up here, RIOT, enter. Now, we have all Riot plays by the most recent, being 922, not filtered by premium. Because again, as you remember, we don't have anything. We reset it, so there's no premium specific amount. But I can easily change that. Let's say we wanted to do, all right, anyone that spent 50,000 or more. 1, 2, 3, boom. All of a sudden now you see that the amounts have changed. It's still the most recent, but now you're going to get more additional dates. 922, 921, and so forth, right? 920. But the minimum requirement is that they would have had to have spent 50,000 or more. If I don't want to look at all these line items, we go to the top where we go show charts, and now it's going to do our breakdown of that table into pie charts, right? More clearly visible, more cleanly visible. Again, as you see, puts are outweighed on all strikes, but for the calls specifically, you have the September 10th, October 15th, and January 2022. if you remember the strikes we talked about were the 31, 33, 35, and the 37. Looks like back here we got the 55 as well. But I think you guys get the point. Again, I'm going to pin this video to the top of my video playlist for anybody who just wants to learn how to use unusual whales. This will give you a good idea or explanation of how. Again, furthermore, when you go down here into, this is the expiration tabs, for example, you can turn them all off or you can leave them all on. It depends on the person. If you're looking for a shorter term option play, let's say I was looking for an option from the middle of October till the end of November, right? I could go in, select all of the October dates, and include November. And let's say I wanted to play only through the end of November. Boom, I've selected all my November dates, and now we just wait for it to load. And it's only going to show me anyone who's played $50,000 or more on calls or puts between now and the end of November. And these are all, especially including when they bought it, because that's important to know. If this was a 3-month-out play or 2-month-old play or a last week play or a yesterday play, right? And what they're playing. As you see, a lot of puts, a lot of bearish calls, but we do have the specific targeted, again, October 15th, as I've mentioned to a few of you now. October 15th is a predominant date. We got 92,000, 80,000, 69, 90, and 63. We're looking at the times. They were not all bought at the same time. Otherwise, sometimes companies try to hide them or layer them. They'll do one right after another, second by second by second by second. So basically, they'll take like $7 million to try to break it up into smaller transactions to not make them so noticeable. This is not the case here. As you see, 9:29 in the morning, 9:02 in the morning, 9:01, 9 o'clock, 8:59. So they're in sequential order. Potentially could be the same buyer, but again, they're different amounts too, so that kind of gives you disparity in change. They also have these little notifications on the other side, usually by the strike. For example, volume is greater than open interest. This is something you need to pay attention to because it tells you there is urgency behind this, because the strike is pretty close, essentially less than 30 days out. The amount is pretty substantial, and it's a specific target date, so they're not worried about theta. This is telling you, hey, this person, whoever did this, threw 80 grand down and doesn't give a damn that they have less than 30 days for Riot to hit 35, which tells you they either know something we don't, or potentially they have information already, so they have more conviction. So you need to pay attention to those little things, because the little details is what's going to make you extra amounts of money. The whole thing with Zoom, it was one of these calls. It was just targeted on a really short date with a significant amount of money, which made me extremely bullish, because as I told you, from the first day I signed up, on the first play I made, it was an urgent call that I signed up and I saw, put money in, and it instantly hit the next day. So again, I'm a believer. I love this tool. I'm learning more and more how to use it even more. And again, there are tons of features that it can do. So don't think you're going to master it in a day or two. It's going to take you a while. But again, I think you guys get the point. Once you get the hang of it, it becomes pretty easy, pretty night and day. You can search here. If you want to know more information, as I mentioned, you can click on the ticker itself, and it takes you to a completely different page, right? And here you can filter, for example, let's say you just want to see open interest and calls, right? Well, we can see there's a downside here recently where less calls have been made, but look at the open interest. It was soaring pretty high up until about a week ago, right? That's one way to look at it. You can go in to see the flows. Again, this breaks it down by categories. Small amounts, 1,000 or less, 5,000, 15,000, and then obviously 30. Or you can go like me and just go big and start at 100,000 or 50,000, right? It's going to pre-fill you or preset you to the largest amount of money possible, right? It's good to get all aspects, all avenues. You can't just be biased and just look at one specific target. You got to try to look at all of it and get the message from everything you see, right? That's how it benefits you the most. So this is how I do my hunting for whales. I hope this helps. If you guys have questions, as always, leave them down in the comments below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it does help with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.